me put this coffin real tight. God hates a coward. God hates a coward. 21:8 says, but the cowardly and the unbelievers, murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which is the second death. God wrote that, I didn't. Who leads the list of that ragtag mob? The cowardly. Look at your spiritual forefathers in the faith. Moses with a shepherd's staff invades the royal court of Pharaoh. Pharaoh, who's considered God on earth, who has the most mighty army that any nation ever assembled together. And he looked him in the face and said, let my people go. He was not afraid. Look at David, the shepherd boy, bringing a sling. And David and Goliath is coming against him. And David looks at him and said, you come to me with a sword and spear, but I'm coming to you in the name of the Lord. Duck Leroy, here comes an exceeding head rake you're not going to get over. Jesus, he's in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's praying. 500 Roman soldiers come from the Antonian fortress to arrest one Jewish rabbi praying in the garden. Think about that. 500 battle-ready Roman soldiers to arrest one Jewish rabbi praying with 12 sleeping disciples. They said, we seek Jesus of Nazareth. He said, I am he. And they fell on the ground like dead men. Jesus was no coward. I want to tell you something. Jesus lost his life at Calvary, but he didn't lose the fight. God will give you only what you're willing to fight for. Satan attacks you because you're God's child, and he hates God's property. Satan attacks you because you're the light of the world, and he's the prince of darkness. Satan attacks you because you're the truth, and he's the father of lies. Satan attacks you because you're a soldier of the cross. You're anointed. You have the word of God. You have covered by the blood of Jesus Christ. You can take the sword of the truth of God and attack the gates of hell. You're a threat to him. Whenever you roll over in bed, every devil in Bexar County gets a migraine headache. That's why he hates you. And to those of you who name the name of Christ, stop allowing Satan and his demonic goons to destroy your marriage. Put on the whole armor of God and fight back. Quit allowing him to attack your health. The Bible says by his stripes we are healed. Quit allowing him to attack your finances. The Bible says God will rebuke the devourer for your sake. He will make him give it back to you sevenfold. Stop allowing the devil to rob you of your peace, because Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace. Stop allowing Satan to rob you of your joy. In his presence is the fullness of joy. Do you want it? Then fight for it. Do you want it? Then fight for it. Put on the whole armor of God and stand beside me and take the word of the holiness of the Father. Fight the good fight of faith. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. We who carry this book have so taken from Jesus Christ his nature, we have forgotten who he is. He is the Son of God who looked at his crowd one day and said, you are of your father the devil. That's not very commonly preached in the Church of America today. The fact is that God will give you what you're willing to fight for. In this war, you will demonstrate courage or cowardice. Some of you are courageous soldiers of the cross, and some of you are cowardly to the core. You don't deserve the name of following Jesus Christ.
Now here's what else you must do in the summer. Like a father, you must look out for your enemies. And believe me, we're going to have some. But remember, like a father who would guard carefully his family, I'm asking you to stand guard. I'm asking you to stand at the door. I'm asking you, whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever pushes against you, push it back. Whatever wants to overwhelm you, like a father, stand up, take control, and do battle with your enemies, wherever you find them.
Be strong in the Lord. Say that with me. Be strong in the Lord. Be strong in the Lord. When you eat this meat for men and milk for children, you'll be strong in the Lord. When you watch 40 hours of television, you couldn't give your witness in the first church of any church in America. This is God's fight, it's not yours. It's God's victory, it's not yours. It's God's glory, it's not yours. It's God's kingdom, it's not yours. It's God's strength, it's not yours. Put on the whole armor of God and fight to win, because the victory is ours through Christ the Lord. Give Him praise in the house of God. What's the point I'm making here? The point is, you can never exhaust God's resources. You can never exhaust God's resources, because He can do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. You can see His mighty power, but when He gets through, He's not exhausted. He has much more strength ready to give you from day unto day. He can defeat any giant that's before you. He can produce streams in the desert. He can produce manna that will fall from the sky. He can send cloven tongues of fire in the upper room. He can walk on the water in the Sea of Galilee and salvage you. The thing that you think is about to destroy you, He can use it for a sidewalk to save you. When you grow weary, He can make you to run like Elijah 40 miles before the chariot. When you grow faint, He can give you strength. He can send you power that you can't begin to touch. You cannot exhaust God's power. Give Him praise in the house of God. He can walk into the tomb of Lazarus and say, "Lazarus, come forth!" Why does He call Lazarus by name? Because if He didn't call him by name, he has so much strength, every dead man on planet Earth would have gotten up. That's why. Our God is an awesome God. He is full of grace and truth. He is the Almighty El Shaddai, the conqueror of death, hell, and the grave. He's the conqueror of sickness and death. He's the conqueror of powers and principalities. He's the conqueror from Calvary. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He's the Lord of glory, and He's coming soon with power and great glory. Give Him praise in the house of God.
And we begin this morning with this. Michael Bloomberg reportedly considering Hillary Clinton as his running mate. Bloomberg's campaign responding to the news saying this: "We are focused on the primary and the debate, not vice president speculation." Joining me right now, former White House chief strategist and the War Room host Steve Bannon, the man who called this back in August on this program. Steve, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. So you knew Hillary Clinton was going to come into this race. You said it and everybody was thinking, what? Are you kidding me? But you were right. If this is true, assess the situation, the combination of Bloomberg and Clinton.
Look, Matt Drudge put his name on this yesterday. This was original reporting from Matt Drudge. If Drudge puts his name on something and there hasn't been any denials, it's money good. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and Matt Drudge is not saying it's happening, but there are clearly discussions going on. You really haven't had a denial from the Bloomberg camp, and you certainly haven't had a denial from the Hillary Clinton camp. And I think this goes back to the heart of why the Democratic Party has lost its way. The Democratic Party does not understand today, 8 months from Election Day, why they lost 2016. They don't understand about managed decline of our elites. They don't understand why Donald Trump won. They don't understand the message of Donald Trump. They've spent 3 years trying to destroy him. They failed to destroy him. 8 months from the election, they have nothing. So now they have a moderate Republican mayor oligarch of New York combining with a globalist, multi-time failure presidential candidate to try to do a combination. And I think that this shows you the desperation of the Democratic Party and really the personal vendetta that the Clintons and Michael Bloomberg have against President Trump. This is not about taking the country forward. This is not about taking the country to the next level. This is not about helping working class people. This is a personal vendetta. And Democrats, and I come from a family of Democrats, the Democratic Party should be ashamed of itself that it's in this situation.
Well, you say oligarchs. I thought it was really interesting yesterday when that news first broke that he's considering choosing Hillary Clinton. A lot of people questioned, well, wait a second. You're not supposed to have two candidates from the same state. They're both from New York. So that was very quickly changed by Michael Bloomberg apparently saying, well, that's okay. I've got a home in Colorado and I've got a home in Florida. I'll change my address to say that I'm from Florida. Can he do that?
Well, this is what oligarchs do. Remember, on Tuesday night, March 3rd, in a couple of weeks, at midnight, when the California polls close out west, the Democratic Party will have an independent socialist in a moderate or liberal mayor, a Republican mayor of New York as the two top guys running for the primary. There won't really be any Democrats around. This is why Hillary Clinton, and I believe that Bill Clinton's fingerprints are all over this. I think you can see Bill Clinton trying to get Hillary back in the game. And I said back in August, and I've said over for a year since, remember, Trump wouldn't be impeached if Michael Bloomberg hadn't put the $100 million up for the Dirty 30, for those House seats. That, this shows you that they have been thinking this through, and that there was always going to be a reaction to Bloomberg buying the Democratic Party. He's doing a leveraged buyout of the Democratic Party. And the people, there was going to be a counter reaction. He's trying to get in front of that by, co-opting the Clintons now and working with the Clintons. The Bernie people, the Bernie movement, have to understand now they are detested and despised, as the deplorables are in the Trump movement. And I think this is a wake-up call for all of Bernie's people to say, hey, we are detested by Bloomberg. We're detested by the Clintons. Here we are, the front runner. They don't give us any respect. The liberal media doesn't give us any respect. I think the Bernie people now have to start to look for Donald Trump as their voice.
Well, look at this. He's in the lead. Bernie is. They don't want him in the lead. Hillary Clinton keeps trashing him. Hillary herself said nobody likes him. Why do you think Bill Clinton's fingerprints are all over this? Talk to us about that a bit.
First off, I think Bill Clinton, back from 2016, Bill Clinton was one that said the hipsters in Brooklyn do not understand what Donald Trump's doing. Donald Trump's going into Michigan. Donald Trump's going to Wisconsin. He's going to Pennsylvania. He's talking about returning America to its greatness, built upon the shoulders of the working class and middle class. Clinton, who's a master politician, saw that Donald Trump was resonating with working class Democrats and would win those states.
Wow.
The hipsters in Brooklyn, this is why Hillary Clinton never went. The hipsters in Brooklyn thought they had a better plan. They thought they could micro-target this thing. And that's why Clinton has been seething, just like Hillary has, from that time. But here's the important point. They haven't learned the lessons of Trump. All they've done for 3 years is try to destroy President Trump. They haven't tried to work with him to take the country forward. They haven't tried to work with him on trade. They haven't tried to work with him on bringing jobs back to America.
Yeah.
They haven't tried to work with him on the wall.
She wants to impeach him again. I'm not questioning your thinking, because you've been so spot on throughout all of this, but I'm just wondering,
we were pretty mocked when we said Bloomberg and Clinton.
Incredible. You were spot on. But this is also coming a day after a Washington Post story about Michael Bloomberg. And the Post story said this: Mike Bloomberg for years has battled women's allegations of profane, sexist comments from the Washington Post. I actually had dinner with a woman from Bloomberg the other night, and she said to me, Maria, it's horrible. I can't even get a step forward. They're so misogynistic. I didn't realize it was that bad, but this article is bad for Michael Bloomberg. Are you sure this whole trial balloon of Hillary Clinton is just not to distract from this article?
The timing of this is definitely to take off both the Washington Post and the New York Times. Here's the thing about the Bloomberg thing I think is so shocking. And once again, it's going to test the core principles of the Democratic Party, of whether they're going to have an oligarch come in and buy it. They're supposed to be about the Me Too movement and Time's Up movement. And here's what you have. Different than President Trump's kind of offhand remarks, the locker room talk of President Trump, which they triggered him and they went nuts.
Yeah.
The problem with these Bloombergs, it's premeditated and it's cruel. What he said to these women about aborting their children, what he said to the women about their looks, what he said to these women about the African-American nannies. This was cruel, it was premeditated, and it's over years and years and years. This is not offhand comments in locker room talk. And that's why you're going to have a gut check with the Democratic Party to see if somebody like this, that's had a history of this, can come in as an oligarch and buy the Democratic Party. And the Bernie people ought to be outraged about this. This shows you the Democratic apparatus and establishment has no respect for you.
So he's willing to spend up to $2 billion to take out Donald Trump. As you know, he has said that. He doesn't want any billionaires, though, by the way, in America anyway. How much of a threat is Clinton, Bloomberg together against Donald Trump?
Listen, anytime you're going to he said $2 billion if he's not the nominee. He'll have unlimited amount of money to do this. He has a personal vendetta against the president. So is Hillary Clinton. As long as they don't get to the thesis of why Donald Trump won, which is return to greatness, and focusing on working class people and middle class issues, Donald Trump's going to win. But I got to tell you, this is teeing up to be the nastiest, most brutal campaign in American history. People say it's the most important election. I don't know if it's the most important election, but I can tell you it's going to be the nastiest and most brutal. And I think the Trump campaign, which I think they're doing a great job right now, you have to go no huddle offense. Every day is like your last day. You have to play hard. President Trump is going to win and should win, but I got to tell you, Bloomberg's money, the Clinton apparatus, and the mainstream media selling out. Remember, if the mainstream media had done their jobs, for the last year and a half, we've been told Biden, Warren, Biden, Warren, Biden, Warren. They're not events. They're not prepared to take on Trump. They try to destroy him. They try to prop up other people that could take him on. The Democratic Party sold out to an oligarch, and this is going to be a nasty, brutal campaign.
And you said this is an incredible New York story. I mean, Clinton, Trump, Bloomberg from New York. It's unbelievable. Real quick, we got to jump, but in terms of this coronavirus, now the New York Times reporting that Xi Jinping was on it early. I mean, they still went to the White House, as I've been saying.
He knew, like you've been saying, it's a week beforehand. Also, Foxconn's announced, I think they're not opening the factories tomorrow. On March 3rd, I think you'll see a conversion of an oligarch and a virus. This virus is very important. The president's taken great action so far, but I think people got to start focusing on the impact to the economy. The Chinese economy, I think, is imploding.
All right, we will leave it there. Steve, it's always great.
War. This is war against truths. This is a war against the highest noble man who has defended our country and made us safe and great again. Let me stand with our president. Let us all stand with our President Trump in a time of such evil words trying for impeachment. This is a crime that the left are trying to force. This is a disgrace by such ignorant followers that have no truth of what truly has been brought back to our country. We have gained greatness. We have gained jobs. We have gained more than any president has promised. This radical left are destructive. Their codes of what is supposed to be are corrupt with lies, deceits, and anger. And we ask why? We ask, how can a human being have such anger toward the greatness of our country's glory? I'll tell you why. Because for so long their anger has been growing, and with such deep pain, with no open heart of loving and seeing the truth. The truth of what truly matters is the productivity of what was promised, and what we, the American people of the United States, were promised and have received. And what does the radical left do for such greatness? They want to destroy. They want civilization to be run like a corrupt ring. I say, stand now with Trump. Let truth prevail. And may God show all the truth, that we are truly a nation stronger because of our president. The left are afraid, for their power is lessening with every deal that is accomplished by Donald Trump. In the name of God and his power for this nation, let us stay strong and without such evil among us. God bless.
There's this enormous cohort of Black and Latino males aged, let's say, 16 to 25, that don't have jobs, don't have any prospects, don't know how to find jobs, don't know what their skill sets are, don't know how to behave in the workplace.
It's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male minorities 15 to 25. That's true in New York, it's true in virtually every city.
If you want to know, is somebody a good salesman, give them the job of going to the Midwest and picking a town and selling to that town the concept that some man wearing a dress should be in the locker room with their daughter. If you can sell that, you can sell anything. I mean, they just look at you and they say, what on earth are you talking about?
Mayor Bloomberg says putting fingerprints on Social Security cards would help control the nation's borders and give employers a way to check whether potential hires are legal citizens.
The companies could just run it through a computer, and if you're an undocumented illegal, they just don't give you the job. And you're not going to come here if you can't get a job. There was a lot of pressure on banks to make loans to everyone. Redlining, if you remember, was the term where banks took whole neighborhoods and said, people in these neighborhoods are poor, they're not going to be able to pay off their mortgages, tell them your salesmen don't go into those areas. Congress got involved, as local elected officials as well, and said, oh, that's not fair, these people should be able to get credit. And once you started pushing in that direction, banks started making more and more loans where the credit of the person buying the house wasn't as good as you would like.
I want nuance, I want bold colors, red, white, and blue. America, I have seen, Dagan, the last several decades, absolutely fray and decline. When I saw those guys on the boats, on their knees, I mean, that says a picture about America that I haven't seen ever before. He's woken up a group of people, Neil, that have gone ignored. And Donald Trump, to me, is the last hope for America.
This country has such potential. I love the country. You have to have heart. You have to take care of women's health issues. You have to take care of poor people that don't have, that they're never going to have a shot. And you have to take care of African American youth who have never been in a worse position than they are right now.
We are standing up for America and for the American people.
There's a group of people in America that feel like they've been ignored. I know that for a fact. They feel like this country has let them down, and the left has hijacked, and some of the right has hijacked our nation. So this is what Donald Trump answers to. It's not anger, it's love of country. And they've all of the media is getting it wrong.
You can't let the critics and the naysayers get in the way of your dreams. Adversity makes you stronger. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. Nothing worth doing ever came easy. And the more righteous your fight, the more opposition that you will face. The people built this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
First jobs report of a full month of the Trump presidency showed the economy added 235,000 jobs in February. The unemployment rate dropped down to 4.7%.
More jobs available than people available to fill them. Never seen that before. See that from the Atlanta Fed? They're predicting 4.8% growth for the economy. That's huge. If you've watched this program, you'll know we have a generational low for unemployment, an all-time low for African American unemployment. That's historic.
Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label. Being an outsider is fine. Embrace the label. Because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
North Korea is issuing a new warning to the United States. Korea warned of a super mighty preemptive strike.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
They will work toward the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
Breaking news, the U.S. economy added 304,000 jobs last month. That was way ahead of expectations, and it was despite a record-breaking government shutdown.
Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve and that are not always warranted. But you have to fight, fight, fight. We are all Americans, and we are all united by one shared destiny. So I'm asking everyone to join this incredible moment. I'm asking you to dream big again. Dream bold, big and bold. Dream big and bold and daring.
President Trump has ordered the Pentagon to pull all U.S. troops out of Syria.
We can make our communities safer, our families stronger, our culture richer, our faith deeper, and our middle class bigger and more prosperous than ever before.
Alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free and we will stay free. America will never be a socialist country, but we must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential. We must choose between greatness or gridlock, results or resistance, vision or vengeance, incredible progress or pointless destruction. Tonight, I ask you to choose greatness. I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. Seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. The forgotten man and the forgotten woman. You're not forgotten anymore. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. That night, our new administration had already taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again for all Americans. Over the last year, we have made incredible progress and achieved extraordinary success. We have faced challenges we expected and others we could never have imagined. We have shared in the heights of victory and the pains of hardship. We have endured floods and fires and storms. But through it all, we have seen the beauty of America's soul and the steel in America's spine. Each test has forged new American heroes to remind us who we are and show us what we can be. We saw the volunteers of the Cajun Navy racing to the rescue with their fishing boats to save people in the aftermath of a totally devastating hurricane. We saw strangers shielding strangers from a hail of gunfire on the Las Vegas Strip. In the aftermath of that terrible shooting, we came together, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as representatives of the people. But it is not enough to come together only in times of tragedy. Tonight, I call upon all of us to set aside our differences, to seek out common ground, and to summon the unity we need to deliver for the people. This is really the key. These are the people we were elected to serve. Over the last year, the world has seen what we always knew, that no people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there's a frontier, we cross it. If there's a challenge, we tame it. If there's an opportunity, we seize it. So let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream anything. You can be anything. And together, we can achieve absolutely anything. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag. Together we are rediscovering the American way. In America, we know that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center of American life. The motto is "In God We Trust." And we celebrate our police, our military, and our amazing veterans as heroes who deserve our total and unwavering support. Reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put our hands on our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem. Americans love their country, and they deserve a government that shows them the same love and loyalty in return. We want every American to know the dignity of a hard day's work. We want every child to be safe in their home at night. And we want every citizen to be proud of this land that we all love so much. We can lift our citizens from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity. As President of the United States, my highest loyalty, my greatest compassion, my constant concern is for America's children, America's struggling workers, and America's forgotten communities. I want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties, Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed. My duty, and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber, is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too. It was a small cluster of colonies caught between a great ocean and a vast wilderness. It was home to an incredible people with a revolutionary idea that they could rule themselves, that they could chart their own destiny, and that together they could light up the entire world. That is what our country has always been about. That is what Americans have always stood for, always strived for, and always done. We're a people whose heroes live not only in the past, but all around us, defending hope, pride, and defending the American way. They work in every trade. They sacrifice to raise a family. They care for our children at home. They defend our flag abroad. And they are strong moms and brave kids. They are firefighters and police officers and border agents, medics and Marines. But above all else, they are Americans. And this capital, this city, this nation belongs entirely to them. Americans fill the world with art and music. They push the bounds of science and discovery, and they forever remind us of what we should never, ever forget. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again. As long as we are proud of who we are and what we are fighting for, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in God, we will never fail. Our families will thrive. Our people will prosper. And our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free. Thank you, and God bless America. Good night.